The clock didn't just tick, it detonated. 2 minutes ago, a casual debate spiraled into a public reckoning when Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal said the quiet part out loud. Live, with cameras rolling and no mercy in their tone. What started as praise for Caitlin Clark turned into a moment Angel Reese could feel in her chest. Like the air had been ripped out of the room. Jordan didn't hedge. Shaq didn't soften it. The message landed heavy and unforgiving. The crown has shifted, and everyone can see it. Social media erupted before the sentence even finished. Clips were chopped, captions were weaponized, and timelines caught fire as fans realized this wasn't just analysis, it was judgment. The GOAT's words carried the weight of history. Shaq's reaction sealed it with a smirk that said everything without saying her name. Somewhere between the studio lights and the viral reposts, Angel Reese's season suddenly felt smaller, louder, and dangerously exposed. This wasn't about one play or one stat. It was about who the game belongs to now. Endorsements, arenas, whispers in front offices, all of it collided in a single moment that felt irreversible. Teammates watched, rivals listened. The league held its breath. And as the clips raced across the internet, one question cut through the noise like a blade. When legends choose sides in public, what happens to the star they leave behind? The clock didn't just tick, it detonated. 2 minutes ago, a casual debate spiraled into a public reckoning when Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal said the quiet part out loud. Live, with cameras rolling and no mercy in their tone. What started as praise for Caitlin Clark turned into a moment Angel Reese could feel in her chest. Like the air had been ripped out of the room. Jordan didn't hedge. Shaq didn't soften it. The message landed heavy and unforgiving. The crown has shifted, and everyone can see it. Social media erupted before the sentence even finished. Clips were chopped, captions were weaponized, and timelines caught fire as fans realized this wasn't just analysis, it was judgment. The GOAT's words carried the weight of history. Shaq's reaction sealed it with a smirk that said everything without saying her name. Somewhere between the studio lights and the viral reposts, Angel Reese's season suddenly felt smaller, louder, and dangerously exposed. This wasn't about one play or one stat. It was about who the game belongs to now. Endorsements, arenas, whispers in front offices, all of it collided in a single moment that felt irreversible. Teammates watched, rivals listened. The league held its breath. And as the clips raced across the internet, one question cut through the noise like a blade. When legends choose sides in public, what happens to the star they leave behind? The moment Michael Jordan spoke, the air changed. Not gradually, instantly. One sentence, one name, one verdict. When the greatest basketball player to ever live said Caitlin Clark was the best player in the WNBA, it didn't land like analysis, it landed like a gavel slamming shut. There was no hedging, no potential, no both sides. Jordan didn't compare styles. He didn't soften the blow. He crowned Clark and, without saying her name again, pushed Angel Reese into the shadows. And that's when everything detonated. Clips went viral within minutes. Sports shows stopped debating and started declaring. Social media turned into a battlefield. MJ has spoken. Debate over. It's done. Angel Reese wasn't just criticized, she was erased in real time by the weight of Jordan's legacy. And if that wasn't enough, Shaquille O'Neal stepped in like gasoline on an open flame, laughing, shaking his head, saying Clark was doing things we've never seen, while implying others were chasing attention instead of greatness. The subtext was brutal: talent versus noise, substance versus spectacle. For Angel Reese, this wasn't basketball talk anymore. This was identity assassination. Inside the Sky locker room, the tension was radioactive. Teammates avoided eye contact. Coaches spoke in vague motivational quotes. Nobody wanted to say her name out loud, but everyone felt it. The franchise centerpiece had just been publicly downgraded by two of the most powerful voices in basketball history. Reese's phone didn't stop buzzing. Texts from friends, PR warnings, brand managers asking what the response would be. Because in today's league, silence is a statement, and anger is a liability. Angel tried to keep it together. She posted carefully, too carefully, quotes about faith, about perseverance, about blocking out the noise. But fans saw through it. The body language on the court changed. The rebounds were still there, but the joy wasn't. Every miss felt heavier. Every whistle felt personal. And the cameras stayed locked on her face, waiting for a reaction that could become the next headline. Then came the first shocking twist. Behind the scenes, whispers started leaking. Executives questioning whether Reese was still the right face for the franchise. Sponsors quietly comparing engagement metrics. One deal stalled. Another went under review. Nothing official, nothing public, but enough to send a clear message. The league was moving toward clean narratives and global appeal, and Caitlin Clark fit that future perfectly. Angel Reese, with all her fire and defiance, suddenly felt like a risk. And the worst part, she knew it. This wasn't about stats anymore. Reese was still producing, still rebounding at an elite level, still battling every night, but perception had flipped. Clark was being framed as the engine of growth, Reese as the obstacle. The rivalry was no longer equal, it was hierarchical, one rising, one being questioned. Then Shaq doubled down. On a major platform, he laughed off the debate entirely, said people needed to stop playing, praised Clark's fearlessness, her range, her unselfishness, and then came the line that cut deepest, that some players were addicted to attention, not excellence. No name attached. No need. Everyone knew who it was aimed at. Angel Reese heard it, her family heard it, her teammates heard it, and for the first time since she became a star, Reese didn't clap back. That silence was louder than any tweet. Because when a player built on confrontation suddenly goes quiet, it's not growth, it's calculation. Something was shifting. Reese wasn't just angry, she was cornered, trapped between defending herself and confirming every stereotype being thrown at her, between fighting the narrative and feeding it. And while fans argued online and analysts declared the debate over, one more thing was happening. Quietly in the background league, insiders were preparing for the next phase. A phase where legacies would be rewritten, endorsements would be and one star would be pushed forward, while another was forced to prove she still belonged. Angel Reese felt it closing in. And just as she tried to steady herself, another move was made behind closed doors, a move that would turn this rivalry from a debate into a full-blown war, and leave Reese facing a decision that could define the rest of her career, long before Michael Jordan's words detonated the debate. Before Shaq's laughter twisted the knife, Angel Reese's story was already burning with pressure, expectation, and contradiction. She wasn't supposed to just play basketball. She was supposed to represent something. Swagger. Defiance. A new era that didn't ask for permission. From LSU to the WNBA, Reese carried herself like someone who refused to be molded. And that confidence made her magnetic and polarizing from day one. She built her identity in the fire. College dominance, national titles, the gestures, the stare-downs, the unapologetic edge that said she wouldn't shrink for anyone. Fans either loved her or waited for the moment she'd fall. There was no middle ground. And when she entered the WNBA, that same energy followed her like a spotlight she couldn't turn off. Every rebound was praised. Every mistake was magnified. Every expression became a headline. But beneath the bravado was a constant weight. Reese wasn't just competing against defenders, she was competing against perception, against narratives already written before she stepped on the court, against comparisons she never asked for but could never escape. Caitlin Clark's rise didn't just introduce a rival, it introduced a mirror the media refused to stop holding up. Clark was framed as precision, Reese as chaos, Clark as evolution, Reese as disruption. That contrast hardened Angel. Inside locker rooms, Reese became louder, more intense, more determined to prove she couldn't be ignored. She rebounded like her life depended on it. She fought for position, absorbed contact, took pride in doing the dirty work others avoided, but the praise always felt conditional. She could dominate the paint and still be reduced to energy. She could control a game without scoring and still be called limited. The applause never matched the effort. Off the court, the brand grew faster than the comfort. Endorsements, cameras, social media dissecting every outfit, every caption, every pause. Reese leaned into it because retreat wasn't an option. Silence had never protected anyone, but each post added fuel to the idea that she was more spectacle than substance. An idea that cut deeper because she knew how hard she worked. An idea that cut deeper because she knew how hard she worked. Then came the injuries, the losses, the whispers about locker room tension, the subtle shift where questions stopped being about basketball and started being about focus and maturity. Reese felt it immediately. When teams struggled, eyes went to her. When wins came, credit went elsewhere. She became both the centerpiece and the scapegoat, celebrated and scrutinized in the same breath. What people didn't see was the exhaustion, the constant need to armor up, to walk into arenas already bracing for boos, to scroll past comments that questioned her intelligence, her effort, her right to be in the conversation at all. Reese told herself it was part of the job, that greatness required thick skin, but even the strongest armor cracks when it's hit from every angle. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's ascent felt effortless by comparison. Records, highlights, standing ovations. the league bending around her popularity. Reese watched it happen in real time, knowing that every Clark milestone made the comparison sharper, harsher. It wasn't jealousy, it was awareness. Awareness that the story being told wasn't neutral. It had a hero, and it was slowly deciding on a villain. By the time Michael Jordan spoke, Reese was already standing on unstable ground. The confidence was still there, but it was guarded now. Calculated. Every move weighed against how it would be perceived. Every reaction filtered through the fear of becoming the headline again for the wrong reason, and when the greatest player of all time publicly chose a side. It didn't just reopen old wounds. It validated every doubt Reese had been fighting quietly for years. Because in that moment, Angel Reese wasn't just competing for wins anymore. She was fighting for her place in the story, and what she chose to do next would either reclaim that narrative or confirm the one being written for her. The moment Michael Jordan said it out loud, the room froze. No hedging, no respect sandwich. No, both are great in their own ways. Just a cold, surgical verdict from the most untouchable voice in basketball history. Caitlin Clark is better, not more popular, not more marketable, better. And before the echo of those words even faded, Shaquille O'Neal piled on with a grin that said everything Angel Reese feared. This wasn't a debate anymore. It was a verdict being read on live television. For Angel, it hit like a blindside. This wasn't some anonymous analyst or hot take artist chasing clicks. This was Michael Jordan, the standard, the measuring stick. The man whose opinion ends arguments before they start. And the timing couldn't have been worse. Reese was already under scrutiny. Losses were stacking. Social media was restless. Locker room whispers were getting louder. Then Jordan spoke. And suddenly, every doubt she'd ever heard felt confirmed in the public court. Shaq didn't soften it either. He laughed. He marveled at Clark's range. He talked about shots that shouldn't go in but always do. He compared Clark's confidence to something rare. Something inevitable. And with every word, the contrast grew sharper. Clark was being painted as the future, Reese as the obstacle in the way of it. The reaction was instant, and nuclear dot clips went viral within minutes. Headlines screamed humiliation. Debate shows turned the moment into a referendum on Angel Reese's entire career. Pundits replayed missed layups, awkward possessions, body language on the bench. Old criticisms were dug up and presented like evidence. Even neutral discussions felt like pylons. Reese wasn't just losing a comparison, she was losing control of the narrative. Behind the scenes, the tension exploded. Sources whispered that Reese was livid, not outwardly, not on camera, but internally. Boiling. Teammates noticed the shift. Practices grew sharper, quieter. Conversations stopped when she entered rooms. Coaches tried to keep things basketball focused, but it was impossible. Every drill felt like a test. Every scrimmage felt like a referendum on whether Jordan was right, and here's where the first shocking twist landed. Instead of backing down, Angel leaned in. At the very next game, Reese played angry. Not reckless, angry. She attacked the glass like it owed her money. She fought for every loose ball. She stared down opponents after routine rebounds, daring cameras to catch it. It wasn't pretty basketball, but it was defiant. A message without words. You don't erase me with one sentence, even if it comes from Michael Jordan. But the league didn't see defiance. They saw risk. Officials tightened whistles around her. Physical play that used to be ignored suddenly became fouls. Technicals came faster. Analysts questioned her composure. Social media split into camps, one praising her fire, the other calling it proof she couldn't handle pressure. And every time Reese reacted, the comparison to Clark got louder. Clark stays calm. Clark lets the game speak. Clark doesn't need theatrics. That's when Reese realized the trap. The harder she pushed back, the more she fit the role being written for her. Then came the locker room moment no one expected. After a brutal loss, cameras caught a heated exchange between Reese and a teammate, faces tight, voices raised. It lasted only seconds, but it was enough. The clip spread faster than highlights. Suddenly the story shifted again. Not just Reese versus Clark. Reese versus her own team. Words like distraction and chemistry started creeping into coverage. The same media that celebrated her edge now questioned whether it was costing games, and Jordan's words loomed over all of it. Because now, every stumble felt like confirmation. Every emotional moment was framed as inability to cope with greatness standing across from her. Reese wasn't just playing opponents anymore. She was playing history, and history had already chosen its favorite. The shocking twist wasn't Jordan's opinion, it was how quickly the system aligned around it. Sponsors grew quieter. League voices stayed neutral. Too neutral. No one rushed to publicly defend her the way they rushed to amplify Clark. Reese felt the shift in real time, like oxygen slowly being pulled from the room. And for the first time, the question crept in, terrifying and unavoidable. What if this isn't just a debate? What if this is the beginning of her being pushed out of the spotlight entirely? Because as Angel Reese stood there, jaw clenched, eyes locked forward, one truth became impossible to ignore. The next move she made wouldn't just define her season, it would decide whether the league still saw her as a star, or as collateral damage in Caitlin Clark's coronation. The escalation didn't come slowly, it came all at once, like the league collectively deciding it was done, pretending this was just talk. Within days of the Jordan-Shaq moment, everything around Angel Reese tightened. Whistles got sharper, headlines got harsher, and the silence from places that used to defend her grew louder than any criticism. Every game turned into a referendum. When Reese dominated the boards, analysts brushed it off as effort stats. When she missed a bunny, it replayed on loop. Camera angles lingered on her reactions, her size, her eye rolls, her posture on the bench. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's highlights felt cinematic logo threes. No-look passes, .com interviews, smiles that sponsors adore. The contrast wasn't accidental anymore, it was being produced. Inside the locker room, the tension hit a boiling point. Teammates didn't turn on Reese outright, but the energy changed. Plays weren't flowing through her as often, huddles felt fragmented. When she spoke up, voices didn't echo back the way they used to. Coaches preached collective focus, but everyone knew who the sermon was really for. Angel could feel it, that subtle shift when trust starts turning into caution. Then came the second major twist. A leaked report surfaced late one night, pushed quietly by league sources. It claimed that multiple teams were already labeling Reese as high maintenance. Not toxic, not just that loaded phrase executives love to use when they want distance without responsibility. The article didn't accuse her of wrongdoing. It didn't need to. The implication did all the damage. Social media detonated. Supporters screamed bias. Critics called it overdue honesty. Neutral fans suddenly picked sides. And right in the middle of it, Caitlin Clark said nothing, which somehow made everything worse. Her silence looked like confidence. Reese's reactions looked like instability. Fair or not, the optics were brutal. Shaq doubled down days later, casually saying on a panel that great players don't fight the game, they bend it. The subtext was obvious. Jordan's words had opened the door. Shaq's kept pushing her through it. Angel tried to reclaim control. She posted a cryptic message, deleted it, showed up to the next game early, locked in, no smiles. For 3 quarters, she was relentless, rebounding, defending, hustling like her life depended on it. And then it happened. A hard foul, a stare, a whistle, a technical. The crowd roared, half in anger, half in approval. The broadcast cut immediately to Clark.com on the bench, sipping water like none of this touched her world. That was the moment. Angel Reese realized she wasn't just being compared anymore. She was being contrasted as a warning. The league wanted fire, just not hers. Sponsors noticed. One delayed campaign quietly vanished. Another stopped reposting her highlights. Nothing public, nothing official, just absence. And absence, in this business, is everything. Behind closed doors, conversations turned colder. Reese wasn't told she was in trouble. She was told to focus on basketball. To let things die down. To understand the moment. Translation: stop making this harder for us, but how do you disappear when the narrative has already decided you're the problem? Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's rise accelerated. Bigger arenas, louder crowds, jerseys everywhere. Commentators openly talked about her as the league's anchor, its future, its safe bet. And every time they said it, Angel felt another door close. The second twist wasn't about performance, it was about positioning. Angel Reese was being edged out of the center, not because she couldn't play, but because she couldn't be controlled the same way. Her edge, once celebrated, was now inconvenient. Her confidence, once marketable, now framed as combustible. And the most dangerous part, she knew it, which is why the next game didn't scare her. She played like someone with nothing left to protect. Physical, defiant, loud, for a brief stretch. It worked. The crowd fed off it. The team surged. For a moment, the old Angel was back, the one who thrived in chaos. Then the whistle blew again. Another technical, another pause, another close-up. And as she stood there, hands on hips, jaw tight, eyes scanning the arena, one question echoed louder than the boos or cheers. Was she fighting to reclaim her place? Or was she unknowingly proving exactly what Jordan and Shaq had already decided? Because if the league had already chosen its face, Angel Reese was running out of time to decide whether she would adapt, or burn the whole comparison down with her. The fallout hit faster than anyone expected. And it didn't stay contained to highlight shows or hot take panels. It spilled into timelines, locker rooms, front offices, and group chats across the league. Overnight, Angel Reese stopped being just a player. She became a debate, a symbol, a lightning rod that everyone felt entitled to dissect. Social media turned radioactive. Every clip of Reese was slowed down, zoomed in, psychoanalyzed. Her facial expressions became body language breakdowns. Her intensity was suddenly emotional volatility. Supporters rushed to defend her, flooding comments with messages about double standards and selective outrage. Critics fired back harder, framing her as proof that hype without polish eventually collapses. The same play could be celebrated or condemned, depending on who was posting it. And then came the silence from the league office. No statement, no clarification, no effort to cool the temperature. Kathy Engelbert's name trended for all the wrong reasons as fans demanded leadership. Was the league protecting its stars, or picking one? Insiders whispered that executives were terrified of making the wrong move. With viewership soaring and sponsors watching closely, nobody wanted to step in front of the storm. Inside Angel's own arena, the atmosphere shifted. Cheers felt conditional now, like they could flip at any moment. On the road, boos grew louder, more personal. Every time she touched the ball, there was an edge in the crowd. Not just competition, but judgment. She wasn't just playing against opponents anymore. She was playing against a narrative that followed her down the court. Teammates tried to keep things normal, but nothing felt normal. Reporters stopped asking about schemes and rotations. Every question circled back to comparisons, to Clark, to Jordan's words, to Shaq's laugh. Angel answered carefully at first, then shorter, then not at all. One clipped response went viral, framed as defensive. Another moment of silence was labeled, checked out. There was no winning. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's world looked untouchable. Endorsement commercials rolled out like clockwork. Analysts praised her mental toughness for staying above the noise, even though the noise wasn't aimed at her. Every compliment directed at Clark felt, to Angel's camp, like another indirect indictment. The gap between them, real or imagined, widened daily. Former players jumped in, some urged patience. Others bluntly said the league had moved on. Phrases like fit for the moment and face of the future were repeated so often they stopped sounding accidental. Angel Reese wasn't being attacked head-on, she was being quietly reclassified. Then the fans turned on each other. Entire timelines split into camps. One side accused the media of manufacturing a hero and a villain. The other argued that stars earn protection by how they carry themselves. Old clips resurfaced. Old quotes were dragged back into the light. Nothing expired anymore. Everything was evidence. The emotional toll showed. Angel's play became erratic. Not bad, but urgent. Every rebound felt like a statement. Every foul felt personal. When she smiled, critics called it fake. When she didn't, they called it sulking. The pressure didn't just sit on her shoulders. It pressed into every possession, and then came the rumor that sent shockwaves through the fan base. An unnamed executive was quoted anonymously saying the league needed stability, not spectacle, as it entered a new commercial era. No name was mentioned, none was needed. Everyone knew exactly who that sentence was aimed at. That was when supporters realized this wasn't just about public opinion anymore. This was about power, about who gets protected when the spotlight grows too big, about who is allowed to be complicated and who must be palatable. Angel Reese wasn't being pushed out, not yet, but she was being boxed in. And as the season marched forward, one truth became impossible to ignore. The next move wouldn't come from a panel, a legend, or a headline. It would come from Angel herself, because the only question left was whether she would bend to the image the league seemed to want, or shatter it completely in front of everyone watching. And now it's on you. Because this story doesn't end on the court, it ends with how fans respond. This isn't just about Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark anymore. It's about who gets to be loud, who gets to be protected, and who gets rewritten when the spotlight gets too bright. The WNBA is at a crossroads, and every reaction, every click, every comment is shaping what comes next. So ask yourself this: are we watching basketball? Or are we watching narratives being engineered in real time? Are stars allowed to be flawed, emotional, and complex, or only if they fit a certain image? Because the league's future won't be decided by legends from the past. It'll be decided by how fans react right now. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. Not the safe take. Not the popular one. The real one. Was Angel Reese treated unfairly? Or is this the cost of being polarizing in a league that's finally under a microscope? Did Jordan and Shaq speak truth? Or did they tip the scales of a rivalry that's now out of control? If you want real breakdowns, real drama, and stories the mainstream won't touch, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who thinks they already have their mind made up, because this debate isn't slowing down. And the next chapter might change everything.